Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be reviewing for you all the new Urban Decay All-Nighter Full Coverage Concealer. This is a very requested product for me to review. I finally got my hands on the correct shade because I first initially ordered it as soon as it launched, and I grabbed the shade medium light neutral. That was way too light, and so I had to actually go into an Ulta and exchange it for the medium neutral, which is what I have to try out today. This concealer comes in 14 different shades. It retails for $29 US. You get 0.12 fluid ounces worth of product, and it has a shelf life of 6 months. Straight from the website, the product description for the concealer states that it is a full coverage concealer that provides flawless matte coverage that lasts all day and all night. It does claim to be a 24-hour wear matte finish oil-free concealer, so there's that to keep in mind. Cover anything and get a perfectly blown out effect. Our ultra pigmented blendable formula controls shine and masks imperfections for 24 hours. And the beautiful modern matte finish never looks overdone. So it's not going to look too heavy, whether you put it underneath your eyes or whether you put it anywhere else on the face, such as like blemishes or any kind of spots that you're trying to conceal. It's not going to look too overly done in those areas, but it is supposed to be a really highly pigmented formula. This concealer is supposed to be a major problem solver, as it's going to handle all of your hardest to hide trouble spots such as dark circles, blemishes, and discolorations, and it even covers tattoos, which are pretty hard to cover up. It also states that there is no need to build your coverage or apply multiple layers. So you're supposed to be able to get full flawless coverage with just one layer of this concealer. Always use all-nighter concealer after you put on your foundation. Just apply a tiny amount and gently tap, tap, tap into your skin with your fingers, which I am going to try out today. I'm going to try to tap it out using my fingers, and then if I don't like the way that that's blending, I'll go ahead and I'll use my damp beauty blender in order to try to completely blend it out under the eyes. This long-lasting formula is supposed to provide a much higher coverage than the Naked Skin Concealer, which I actually really like. They increased the pigment for this concealer by 73%. The concealer includes a high-tech blend that is supposed to provide ultra-long, flawless wear and prevent the concealer from settling into fine lines and pores. So it's not supposed to settle, I would assume, underneath the eyes or into any lines, because that's where I have my fine lines, is right underneath the eyes, so I will be looking for this to not settle under there. It also has light diffusing pigments in order to blur flaws for a soft focus finish. They do have some pro tips directly on the website. As far as how to choose your best shade, they do recommend that you swatch it, let it dry down, and then that way you can see its true color and pick from that. They also say that if it's a toss-up between two shades, that you should go with the lighter one. They do have a few application tips directly on the website as far as how to best use the concealer. They remind you that a little goes a long way. For a flawless application, make sure that your skin is well hydrated and your moisturizer has absorbed fully before applying the concealer. And 3, all-nighter concealer has ample playtime, but once it's set, there's no need to go over it or reapply. So you are able to blend it out. It's not going to dry out on you right away, or at least that's what it says, that you do have enough time to blend it out wherever you need it. But once it's dried out, once it's dried down, once it's set, it's good to go and you don't have to worry about it. So per usual, I am going to be testing this concealer out with and without a color corrector because I want to see exactly how it performs and how much coverage I really do get with a color corrector as opposed to without. I'm also going to be setting the under eye area just a tiny bit like I usually do with my RCMA No Color Loose Powder. This stuff is such a lifesaver. I love it. And if I need it, I'm going to be blending out under the eye using my damp beauty blender. So now I'm simply going to jump off camera in order to apply some foundation onto the face, color corrector onto the right under eye area, and I won't be applying any color corrector onto the left under eye area, and then I will come back in order to conceal. Okay, so now I am back with foundation on and color corrector on just the one side. And for color correcting, I'm using my one and only, the one that I always use, which is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. So this is what the packaging looks like. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it online. Very sturdy. It's exactly the same as their all-nighter foundation, which is like this. It's just like a little mini version. I love it. I really, really like the packaging. As far as the applicator, I believe, yep, it's a doe foot applicator, which is pretty standard for concealers. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the right side. Just apply some here, 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 and here. I'm going to start by blending it out using my finger, but I think I'm also going to use my I'm using my beauty blender. I can't. It does blend out really nicely, evenly. Okay, so I got really good coverage. And yeah, it wasn't a lot of product at all. Okay, now I'm going to conceal the other side. I know it said a little goes a long way, but I'm just afraid that it's not going to conceal as well. Okay, so I'm getting really good coverage on both sides, although I feel like the left side looks a little bit brighter than the right side. The right side seems a little bit more toned down, kind of matching my complexion a little bit more, whereas the left side, like the under eye area, I feel looks just highlighted. Nothing wrong with that, not upset at all because it's not making my under eye area look ashy. Now, I was originally going to set it, but now that I've had it on for about a minute, it's drying down pretty nicely, and I don't feel like I'm gonna have to set the under eye area. It does state that it does give you a matte finish. It's supposed to give you a matte finish underneath the eyes or anywhere that you choose to apply it, and it's not going to settle into any fine lines or pores. So based on that information, it should not settle into the fine lines that I have underneath the eyes. Hopefully it doesn't. And now I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after initial application. Okay, so this is the concealer after initially applying it. I like the way that it looks and I like the way that it feels. I didn't have to use a whole lot of product in order to get really good full coverage under the eyes. And so far, it's definitely not creasing whatsoever. Okay, so now I'm just going to simply jump off camera, finish off the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I am back with a full face of makeup and the concealer is still looking really good underneath the eyes. It is currently 11:25 in the morning. I do plan on coming back at around 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in order to do a midday check-in. I'll give you all close-ups and show you exactly how the concealer is wearing. So I will see you all back here really soon. Okay, so now I am back for my midday check-in. It is currently 4:27 p.m. So I've had this concealer on for about 5 hours now. Now, before I get into my midday thoughts on the concealer, I am going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look underneath the eye area after 5 hours of wear. Okay, so this is the under eye area after 5 hours. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more coverage on the right side, the color corrected side, than I am on the non-color corrected side. However, I still am getting good coverage on this side considering I don't have anything underneath and there's only one layer of concealer. Other than that, I feel like, I know my under eye area is not smooth, obviously, but I feel like the right side looks a little bit smoother than the left. The left kind of, I can definitely see more of my lines on this side than I can on this side. I don't know if you all can notice, especially like right here. They're very emphasized, and I think that has something to do with the formula being matte. It's obviously not supposed to be hydrating, and I believe that they do that so that it doesn't really settle in the lines, in your little fine lines. But I think that that's what's causing my lines to just appear a little bit more severe on the left side. Other than that, I feel like if I look up and I do this side just looks a little bit cracked, whereas this side doesn't. And yeah, that's all I have. So as you can see, I feel like the concealer is wearing better with my color corrector than it is without. Without it, I just don't feel like it's as smooth as it was when I first applied it, and it's definitely kind of cracking in between my lines. And it also is emphasizing my lines a little bit more than what I'd like. On the left side, I don't feel like that's happening as much. It's happening a little bit where the concealer is kind of you know, breaking up a little bit. But other than that, I don't feel like my lines are very, very noticeable underneath the eyes. And I feel like overall, the concealer is doing a much better job at concealing with a color corrector underneath than it is without. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. We'll see what it looks like at the end of the night. But that is the current situation as of 5 hours of wearing the concealer. I do plan on finishing off my day at around 8 o'clock, 8:30, just to try to give the concealer a good like 9 hours worth of wear time. And that way we'll see exactly what it looks like after kind of a long day of wearing it. So I will see you all back here at the end of the night. Okay, so now I am back with my final check-in. It is currently 8:20. Now before I get into my overall opinion of this new concealer, I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after about 9 hours of wear. Okay, so this is what the concealer looks like under my eyes after about 9 hours. As you can see, it has worn off a little bit here and also here. Other than that though, I don't really feel like there's been any additional anything underneath the eye area that has really happened from my midday check-in. I still feel like I get a little bit more coverage using a color corrector than I do without. And I do feel like the lines, I mean, they're still very emphasized on this left side, not so much on this right side. I don't know if y'all can like really tell the difference here that I'm talking about. Like these lines I typically do not have. I mean, I'm sure I have them to a certain extent, but I don't have them just without any makeup. Like they're not very emphasized or noticeable. Here on this side, you can't really tell that they're like here. So that's what I'm talking about. Aside from that, like I mentioned earlier, it did kind of break up on me just a little bit here, and a little bit here, I guess. But other than that, it's a good concealer in that it stayed pretty put throughout the entire day. I don't think like I got any less coverage or that the concealer really wore off. However, I do prefer it with a color corrector. So overall, I like the concealer, but I don't love the concealer. I do like it though. It's not a bad concealer whatsoever. I've had bad concealers in the past. I mean, this one did a really good job at concealing the under eye area, but I just liked it with a color corrector. I liked it with my color corrector as opposed to without anything underneath and just the one layer. I just felt like I wasn't getting enough coverage on the left side. And also due to the matte finish of the concealer, I felt that that is what helped emphasize my lines on this under eye area. The right side didn't have the same issue as this one when it came to the lines being emphasized, but I feel that it had a lot to do with the color corrector that I had underneath it. So yeah, there is that. It did increase on me. That is definitely a plus because I did not set the concealer whatsoever, so I didn't see any creasing, but it did kind of break up a little bit under the eye area, especially on the left side, the side that I did not color correct. Overall though, I feel like it's a good concealer. I mean, considering the fact that I have pretty severe dark circles, it did a good job at concealing, staying put, not creasing, which is super surprising that it didn't crease on me at all really underneath the eyes, and I didn't have to set it. So that was definitely a huge plus, is that it does stay put and you don't have to set it in order to prevent it from creasing. I actually like the concealer, but I definitely wouldn't list it as a favorite. You know, I do still favor my Tarte Shape Tape. I feel like I get better coverage with my Tarte Shape Tape. It stays put for the entire day. I really don't have to worry about my dark circles peeking through or it wearing off really. And I feel like I get fuller coverage with my Tarte Shape Tapes. Let me know if you all want me to put a video together where I wear this concealer, the All Nighter concealer, and the Tarte Shape Tape side by side. I'll wear them for an entire day, a 9-hour day, and see which one does better at the end of the day. So yeah, let me know and I will gladly get that together for you all. Those are my thoughts on this new Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future reviews or future makeup tutorials. As always, take care and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.